Come join Melissa and her guests on the Chats from the Blog Cabin podcast. From North Carolina, this podcast will have you feeling like you've known these folks for years. Listen in as they chat about life, culture, current events, and more, all with a special Southern flair. Curl up with your favorite beverage and get ready to be entertained. Tune in now for a unique experience that's fun and insightful.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Chats from the Blog Cabin. You know, this show where I virtually invite people into the blog cabin to chat about life. And today we're chatting about veganism, about being a vegan, and about vegans, baby, because I love that. Diana is the founder of Vegans Baby. I feel like Dick Vitale from ESPN, you know, it's baby, you know, he's a baby. I feel like him right now. But Diana, before we start talking about Vegans Baby, tell us who you are and what you do.
So I am Diana. I am the founder of Vegans Baby. And basically, I promote a vegan lifestyle. And my goal is to make veganism approachable, accessible to everybody. So I have a website that shares vegan food, vegan lifestyle. I curate and host tours around the world. I curate events and dinners and things like that. So really, anything to do with vegan, I have my hands in it, particularly when it comes to food.
So how did you get started on this particular journey? You know, when did you start your journey, first of all, into veganism?
So my journey to veganism kind of took a minute. I stopped eating meat in 2012 when I was living abroad in Thailand, working at an elephant sanctuary. That was it for meat. And then I went vegan a few years later after moving back to the States. My background was PR and blogging. And so I really wanted to continue doing both of those things, but I wasn't traveling. And at that time I had a travel blog. So my friends and I were brainstorming ideas, and one of them was starting a vegan blog. And so basically I decided I would do that. I went vegan and started documenting my journey and like what I was eating in Las Vegas, where I was living at the time. So I was sharing vegan food there. And basically my whole point was, if I can go vegan, so can you. And so that's how it was born.
Yeah, when you live in Las Vegas, I honestly think that's probably one of the hardest cities to probably go vegan in, correct?
Not anymore. At the time it was, but now, you know, I did Vegans Baby there for 5-6 years. And in that time, we went from like 4 vegan restaurants to 20. And I worked with a ton of hotels and restaurants to add more vegan options. So it's definitely come a long way since I moved back there in 2016.
So what made you decide to share the knowledge? You already said you had the blogger background, and I totally get that. But what made you decide to go more global wise and share the knowledge of where you can get great tasting, not only vegan food, but you know, where you also, if you're going out to eat, where you can find it as well?
So basically, I worked on the animal rights side of things, and animal activism is one of the hardest things emotionally, I think, to do. And I just got to a point where I was just depleted. And so I wanted to continue making change. And so I decided I would just make change through Vegans Baby instead. So I wasn't necessarily going to be like marches and protests and things like that, but I was going to make change by just making veganism more approachable and showing people like the good things about going vegan versus like the harder, like a lot of, you know, the sad, heartbreaking stuff as to why to go vegan.
So what are some of the easier ways to go vegan, easier things to do?
So if you want to go vegan, I always tell people the first thing you need to do is watch some of those terrible documentaries. And terrible, I mean like they're devastating to watch, but there's Dominion, there's Earthlings, there's What the Health, there's Game Changers. And that will make most people go vegan pretty quickly once they see how their food's actually like made. And then otherwise, like for me, I knew all of this because like I was working on the ground in animal rights, but so like for me it was a little bit different. But I think the easiest way once you decide to go vegan is to just start swapping out products. Like if you think it's going to be difficult or you're going to miss certain things, now it's like anything you can eat, I can eat vegan. So there's plenty of options. So if you miss like if you miss fried chicken, there's vegan fried chicken, there's vegan bacon, there's vegan burgers, there's everything. And technology is so advanced now, and the food industry is so advanced. There's plenty of alternatives from your typical animal products that you can have that still give you the taste and the texture and the experiences you probably associate with eating these dishes.
But what about, so does it taste the same? Because you're coming from being a convert in 2012 to now being total, does it taste the same? Do you miss it at all? Or
I don't ever miss it. For me, like I don't want to cause harm to animals. So I would never, I don't miss any of it, but it is nice to have some of these flavors and textures. I had a vegan fried chicken the other day that was amazing, like super crispy, delicious. I have a vegan bacon that I love called My Forest Foods. My bacon, it's made out of mycelium, and it has it's the same like mouthfeel as bacon. It's kind of chewy, it could be crispy. So a lot of the food nowadays really is like, other than like whole foods, plant-based foods, a lot of it is really created more for people that aren't vegan to like try these products and just get animals off their plate. So like a lot of people that aren't vegan will try the Impossible Burger and say that they never noticed, they can't tell a difference and things like that.
And I think Burger King has the Impossible Burger now, correct?
Burger King does, yep.
So let's talk about Vegans Baby. Let's talk about what actually it is, because I think it's really cool. So tell us a little bit about how you came up with that concept and then what it actually is.
So Vegans Baby concept came up when I was living in Madrid and drank a bunch of champagne with my friend and bought a bunch of domain names, and this is the one that stuck. But the idea was like Vegas Baby, but Vegans Babies, because I was moving back to Vegas and it was going to be at that time a Vegas specific website. So Vegas Baby turned into Vegans Baby, and that's how that was born. And Vegans Baby, it's me. Like my website is a blog about like vegan life and vegan food. And so basically like through Vegans Baby, I promote businesses on my social media. I work with brands. I curate tours. I check out restaurants and promote restaurants. I consult with restaurants about adding vegan options. I curate events. I partnered with the James Beard House for 2 dinners at their New York house a couple years ago. So it's a bunch of different things that I do. Like, have a vegan guide to Las Vegas that you can buy. It's a book that gives you like the best of all the vegan food in Las Vegas. There's a map that shows you where to eat. So it's a lot of different things, all with the goal of making veganism more approachable and accessible.
So let's talk about the curated tours. I think that a lot of people need to kind of hop on board just to even get a taste of what being a vegan is like, correct?
Yeah. Like I used to do a vegan tour in Las Vegas, and it was named one of the top 9 vegan food tours in the world by Travel and Leisure. With the pandemic, that stopped. So that tour is it's on hiatus for the foreseeable future. But I do international tours. So I did a group tour to Thailand pre-pandemic, and then last year I took a tour to South Africa, and so taking another group this year back to South Africa this October. So basically what I'll do is I'll research, I'll curate everything. I'll go there first and like do the experiences, make sure everything is ethical, make sure that everything is aligned with like my vegan values. Like, if the hotel doesn't have like animals like stuffed or taxidermied or whatever, like leather couches or like animal hide rugs. So making sure that all those things are kind of vetted. And then I take people on tours.
Well, I love the fact that you just said that you make sure that it's not only the food that you're eating, but it's the experience around that it's vegan as well.
Yes.
Have you gotten any pushback from hotels? Like they say they really want you to come, but we're not going to change out anything for you?
No, because we just wouldn't work with them. Like the hotels that we work with are vegan friendly to begin with. Like we've vetted them. We've never had anyone say no.
Oh, wow. I just can't even imagine. I mean, to me, that'd be a cool experience to go to another country and to know that your values, one that you set up, that it's something that you're going to be surrounded by. That would be so cool.
And I mean, obviously, like when you're traveling, you can't control everything around you. Some of the restaurants we go to aren't vegan restaurants, but they're like some of the best restaurants in the world. And I still want people to experience that. And, you can't control what everyone else eats. But in the little insular world that I curate, everything is vegan.
So let's talk about you. You mentioned earlier that you work with restaurants to have some vegan dishes. So let's talk about that, because I don't know how many times like I feel like not having meat at a dinner and feel like I want something that's vegan and you can't, there's no options on the menu. So
Yeah.
let's talk about how important that is.
It's really important. And I always tell restaurant owners, like, you're missing out on so much revenue by not having vegan options, because typically when you're with a group of people, the people with the dietary restrictions are going to be who chooses where to eat. And so if you've got a group of 10 people and one vegan, and your restaurant doesn't have any vegan options, guess who's not going there? That party of 10. So for me, I think that's a really big thing that a lot of restaurants miss out on. There's also the idea that, like, oh, we put a salad on the menu, or like, here we roasted up some cauliflower, that's enough. And it's not enough. That's like, it's like the bare minimum, which I appreciate that they're doing. But again, I'm not going to a restaurant that only has 2 things on the menu that I could probably make at home. So it really is important for restaurants to, especially, and I know chefs really like being challenged. Like the chefs I've worked with that aren't vegan, when they have to come up with like a plant-based dish, they get super excited about it because it's a challenge for them. They're recreating something, or they're creating something that is based solely on like flavor and texture and everything like that, and not a meat ingredient. So in my experience, chefs really enjoy doing it. So I always tell restaurants, like, you've got to, especially now, like the tides are changing so much. We have a pandemic. People are becoming so much more aware of what they consume, about like the health risks associated with food that's not vegan. Obviously, like more and more information is like being learned about animal agriculture and its contribution to climate change and how big of an issue that is. So there's a lot of reasons. And even then, just like, you're getting stories on factory farming that are coming out that are terrible. So there's more and more reasons people are going vegan these days. And so it's going to keep growing, and restaurants that don't jump on that trend, or not trend, but don't jump on that, will be at a disadvantage, because all these other restaurants are taking that time now, and they're building up a customer base and loyal customers that appreciate that they have vegan options. So it's something I believe very, very much in, that like it's very important for restaurants to like get stuff on their menu.
Okay, we need to take a brief commercial break, but we'll be right back.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Alice Chun. I'm the inventor of the Solar Puff. This is the Solar Puff. It flat packs flat like an origami balloon, and you can pop it open and you get a beautiful cube of light. No batteries needed, just the sun. And we are using this for PTSD therapy with children in Ukraine, and now I'm going to Turkey to deliver these to the earthquake victims. Solite design, and this is the Solar Puff.
And we are back chatting with Diana, the founder of Vegans Baby. I almost said Vegas Baby. Before we went to commercial, we talked about working with restaurants to curate a vegetarian or vegan meal. Now, when you do your tours, what are some of the criteria that you have to include the restaurants in your tours?
They have to have exceptional everything. It has to be something that is just magical and magnificent. Yeah, like it's not going to be just some random spot. Like on my South Africa tour, we go to a place called the Kelp Shack, and the chef, it's literally a shack on the beach, and the chef is diving out into the ocean every day and harvesting kelp that he's using to make dishes. And it's a 5-course meal using kelp in every dish. We're going to La Colombe, which is one of the top 50 restaurants in the world. We're going to places that are truly exceptional. So like if you're a foodie, this is like the perfect experience for you. So yeah, the criteria is very, very high for food tours.
And I love the fact that you're also not only giving them the really healthy food, but also giving them the experience. Like you just talked about the kelp, going out and watching him going out to get the kelp to bring it back in. That is kind of cool. That would be something that I would want to see, just to go for the experience. Maybe not for the food, but for the experience, you know?
Well, we don't actually see him swim out. He does it before we get there, but he has it there. And so like you get to like, you know, he has it, you can touch it, cut it, like smell it, and then he takes it and cooks with it.
So do you ever take them on tours to where they're harvesting the things that they're cooking?
Not this tour, no, but the Thailand tour, yes, we do. We take you to a market where you pick out the food and then you go to a kitchen and cook it.
That's that's a really cool. Tell me about that one.
So that it's just a cooking school, and so in Thailand, all the cooking schools will do that. They'll take you to like the farm or to a market, walk you through it, and then tell you what ingredients you need, and then you go back and you cook with them.
Is there one nationality that you see more leaning toward the plant-based? Like when you go, like it's easier, like you just mentioned Thailand and South Africa, but there are other places that you notice that they're more plant-based as well, other countries?
Yep. Israel is extremely vegan, extremely plant-based. They're obviously a small country, but a significant portion of their population is vegan. It really just depends on the people more than anything else. Like certainly some countries are far more vegan friendly than others. But in terms of like nationalities, I think that's I don't have enough of like enough experience around the world to like speak to that.
So what is your dream tour, to be able to curate the tour and to be able to take people on?
So I did have a tour that I was working on right before the pandemic, and it was Lisbon, Madrid, and Paris. And I loved that tour so much, and I didn't get to do it. So that is one. I really want to do Japan. I'd really like to do like a South America vegan tour. And then like Iceland. I'd like to do a vegan tour in Iceland. I mean, really though, the sky's the limit with that one because I'm such a traveler. Like my former career was travel blogging, so like I love travel. I love going all over the place. I love like finding different places to eat and discover. So I mean, you name a country, and I probably would want to do a tour there.
I just love that. You name a country. Have you ever thought about doing it state to state in the states? Doing
So
a tour state to state?
I have done it. I did Vegas, and then I did a vegan foodie weekend here in New York in 2021. So it was a private dinner at a chef's home overlooking Manhattan on the 16th floor. And then it was a food tour, a walking food tour of the East Village. And then it was a brunch the next day. So you had like all these different like experiences in that weekend.
So take me through you planning from the start. The idea of the tour comes into your mind, and take me through all your planning and what steps you go through, because obviously it's a lot of work. It's a lot of legwork.
Well, it's a lot of legwork, but I am fortunate that I work with an amazing tour operator. So basically, my partnership with Alluring Africa started because I had a conversation with their publicist, and she said, "Oh my gosh, you guys would be a perfect match." So then I had a conversation with their marketing director, and we went over things. And then I started to do research and like pick out things that I would want to do, like me as like a traveler. What would I want to do on a tour? So narrowed it down to like things I would be excited about doing. And then we flew out to South Africa, me and her, and vetted the hotel, vetted the experiences, vetted the restaurants, made sure everything was up to par, that like the restaurants like were what I wanted people to experience. And then we work with a tour operator on the ground in South Africa that helps coordinate everything. And then Alluring Africa sells it. I promote it. And then I fly back to South Africa. I host it, and then we have like obviously we hire all local guides and local tour operators and local businesses. So then we work with local tour guides to take us around the city, and then we go on safari at the end. So and that again, it's a very ethically amazing run safari. Like we did a lot of research on it to make sure that it was ethical, and that they have anti-poaching. They have 2 rehab centers on their property. So it's just very above board, but you still have to do your due diligence and make sure that like it's not a front for like canned hunting and things like that. So there is a lot of work, but like there's a lot of people that are really good at doing that work that are doing that work. Like I get the fun part of like finding everything, and then I have the tour operator that handles the logistics and everything.
that just, I mean, just listening to you, you can tell the love and the excitement you feel for it, but also it's kind of like you want to hop on and you want to go on as well. Is this the first one that you said that you had since the pandemic?
No. So I had one last June. And then the next one is this October 21st through 30th. And that is 4 nights in Cape Town, 2 nights in Hermanus on the shore, and then 3 nights at an all-inclusive safari.
See, and I love the fact that you're bringing in safari. When you think about the word safari, you think about, either hunting or looking at animals in the wild. And
Yep.
and I love the way you're bringing it so that it's more positive experience
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah, this one is a really good one. Like there are some, like I've been on some safaris, not in South Africa, but I've been on safaris in Sri Lanka, and they don't have like, you have 30 Jeeps all around like an elephant. And it's just, to me, that's just very unethical. Or they're off-roading places. And so the standards at Shamwari are very much like one vehicle at a time. You can't off-road in certain areas because just the fabric of everything is so tied together. So like the grass, the ants that live in the grass, like you can't upset any of it because the ecosystem is so fragile. So it's very conscious of all of those things. And I really respect that and appreciate that. And like, I value companies like that, where obviously it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you're getting this experience that truly is like aims to educate you, aims to like save these animals to an extent, because they have a lot of endangered species there. Or like the wild dogs I know they're getting, but protecting these animals, and then also just their ethos of like respecting nature and observation and not engaging and things like that. I really value that.
And I love that. Have you always been that passionate about respecting and valuing nature and making sure that everything you leave things the way? What's the word I'm looking for? You leave things the same way as you found them.
Probably, most likely. Obviously, like going vegan definitely gave me a different perspective on that side of things. But like, I've always been like reduce, reuse, recycle. I've always been very conscious. Like I try to be a very conscious consumer, but obviously like the past 10 years, as I progressed on my journey, I've become a much more conscious consumer and much more aware of the harm I do and where my money goes and how, like what I'm contributing to. So, like I know certain companies I won't support because of fast fashion or child slavery or things like that. So it definitely is something that's very, very important to me, as I've learned more. And I think that's all you can ever ask is like, the more you learn, we hope that we become better humans for it. And I feel like I'm constantly evolving, but certainly they're respecting nature. Like I've always loved animals. And, I can't go to zoos. I can't do things like that. And working in Thailand really taught me a lot more about respecting them as living like sentient beings that like feel and have emotions and relationships and things like that. Like elephants are just like people, and like being able to see them every day and learn about them and like see their personalities. And it's like, that isn't just elephants that have personalities, like cows have personalities, pigs have personalities, monkeys, all of these animals that people consume, they all have personalities. They all feel things. They all experience loss and mourn and joy. And so for me, like it's just a fabric of who I am now, I think.
Yeah, because I noticed that you mentioned like over and over again that ethical. You look into the practices of the companies that you're working with to make sure they have ethical practices, to make sure they're fair trade. And I love that, because I think more companies need to, and more people need to get on board with that as well.
Yeah, I think it's just like, especially when it comes to like being a tourist or like you're visiting a country, but you want to like give your tourist dollars to local businesses and not, like I'm not going to go to McDonald's and spend my money there. Like I'm going to go out and have a meal, I'm going to go to a local place. The only time I did eat fast food in South Africa was Burger King, and it's because they had the vegan chicken sandwich, and I was dying to try it, and you can't get it in the States. So that's the only time like I supported anything that wasn't like truly local. But for me, it really is important to do that and to like give back to the communities that so kindly give to you.
So if people are looking into the companies that they're working with, or they're buying from, or they're consuming, what should they look for to make sure that they're ethical and fair trade?
Ooh, it's I that would be like a whole like hour long thing, but I can tell you like a lot of you have to be careful for greenwashing. So greenwashing is the idea that they're telling you something's good when it's not. So like in Thailand, there are a lot of places that say they're sanctuaries, but they're not actually sanctuaries. They're just telling you that because that's what you want to hear in order to give them money. So like a true sanctuary would be like these animals are rescued, they are allowed to live their lives uninterrupted without working for people, for food, for tricks, etc., etc. Like if it's a sanctuary, you should be able to go observe them from a distance and not interact with them, not have anything to do with them. Their lives should not engage with yours. So I think that's a pretty, when it comes to animals, that is truly how I like what I feel is the most ethical, and that's what I look for. Products, it's a little bit harder. You certainly have to do your research. I know, like Shine Food, Shine is or Sheen, I don't even know how you say it, but they're a fast fashion company, and they're creating like 1,000 or 2,000, I think, some crazy number of new products goes on their website every day to buy, and they're only on there for a limited time, and then they're gone. But so it's created this fast fashion culture where I think there's something like I forget. There's more fashion or more clothing in the world, I think, than there are people. Or some, I saw it the other week, and the headline just made me stop, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And so, but it's clothing like this that, like they're not paying people living wages, like they're using like the materials are bad. I think some of them even contained lead or something. Don't quote me on these things, but like you have to really keep an eye out. So like you're looking for handmade or made in the USA or whatever country you're in, like you want to be able to do that, or like you buy secondhand. And that way you are just giving a new lease on life to the clothing. But there really is like, you have to kind of vet the marketing and the words that people are telling you and kind of do your due diligence and dig a little deeper for a lot of things if you want to like to learn more. Like there's companies that for me, like I'm a very liberal person, so like there's companies that I know that give to causes I don't support, so I don't give them my money anymore. So you just kind of have to know, like you have to truly be like an educated consumer. And it's not easy. It's a long process. I'm still not there, but I do the best I can with and that's how I choose to live.
And now I want to circle back around to being a vegan. How can we, as you're a vegan, you're going out to a restaurant, you want to eat like at your favorite restaurant, but they don't have any dishes. How do you approach the owner or the chef to say, hey, look, can you at least put one or two vegan options on the menu?
It's literally what you do. Like I've reached out to restaurants before, but like I would love to come in, but like you don't have any vegan options. And like your food looks amazing. I would love it if you could. I'd be happy to support you if you did this. And so sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no, sometimes they ignore you. But really, truly, the best way to do it is asking, because if you don't ask, you'll never know.
No, that is so true. Now, if people wanted to start their journey into becoming a vegan, because obviously a lot of people do it cold turkey, but a lot of people want to gradually go into it. So what were some of the products that you suggested they replace it first?
So I would suggest replacing all like your everyday items. So replace your milk, replace your butter, replace your eggs, replace your burgers, replace your hot dogs, replace your pizza. Like the things that can be replaced, replace them. And that's typically what I'll say. And also I should point out, like, vegan is a lifestyle. It's not just a diet. So, look at your toothpaste and see if that's vegan, and your hair products, and, start by like just making new purchases. Like when it comes time to purchase again, purchase a vegan product instead of a non-vegan product. But for the food, I always say start with the easy swaps, because that is what you're going to have that's always like your gateway to veganism, is like the Beyond Chicken or like Gardein or Impossible, things like that, to get people into trying the food.
I love how you said it's a lifestyle and that it goes beyond the food. So let's talk about how we can find those vegan products that are beyond the food.
Yeah. always Google things. I am like a master Googler. And then on my website, I do talk about vegan products as well, and on my social media. But I think the products that are vegan really will they'll say they're vegan. Typically, like a lot of makeup now will have like vegan and cruelty free, because you want both, because cruelty free means not tested on animals, and vegan means like no animal byproducts or anything like that. So you want both. Like I use like vegan dish soap, I use vegan soap, I use vegan shampoo and hair dye, and like even my tattoos are vegan ink. So it really is just, you just have to do a little bit of research to find that. And it's pretty easy because there's a lot out there. If you're looking for like different things, or like, like vegan wine, like it's all available to find. And then obviously for clothing, you're not gonna like no wool, no cardigans, no cashmere, things like that.
I just love the little peaky in the corner. What is that?
My cat. One of my
I
cats.
thought it was a cat. It looks like my grand kitty.
Penelope. She always wants to be a star, don't you, baby? Yeah.
She's so cute. So you talked about, we talked about replacing items as they come up instead of just throwing everything out. And I think that's the smart choice, because a lot of people think that, oh, well, if I have to do this, I have to replace everything all at once. And then they get so frustrated because they can't do it, because feasibly, financially, they're not able to do it.
Exactly. And I also don't believe in wasting things. Like, I understand if you never want to eat meat again, give it to somebody else versus like throw it out, because I just feel like, ultimately that animal died for your plate. At least let someone like, don't make that in like complete vain. So
I love that. And I love the fact that you're not shaming people. There's a lot of people out there that have that lifestyle that shame people into, oh, why are you eating meat? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? But you're not. You're trying to educate, which is the whole point of listening to other people and letting them tell their story.
And I learned that from living in Thailand, because everyone is so passionate, and like there's different activism for everybody. And, sometimes like videos will work better, shaming people, maybe they'll make change. But I kind of feel like the way that's always worked for me is just compassion, and like not policing people, letting people get there however they get there, and supporting them on the journey. Because at the end of the day, we really are all on the same boat. Like we all want our world to be a better place. We obviously want climate change to slow down, and we want people to be healthy. We want all of these things. So we all have the same agenda. It's just how you get there. And for me, I've just always thought that like being compassionate and kind gets you a lot further than like aggressive and like attacking people.
Because then their backs aren't up against the wall, and they're more open to hearing what you're saying. And even if they only make one change, that's something that you've done that has helped them.
Yeah. I mean, I always tell people start with like a meatless Monday. Like if they're like, oh, well, I have one plant-based meal a day. I'm like, that's wonderful. Great. Because that's one meal a day that you're not hurting animals. And I fully support that. Would I like you to have all of your meals? 100%. But you got to get there.
Yeah.
You got to get there.
That is so true. So you said you had the South Africa tour coming up in October. Do you have anything else coming up for you?
Not right. That is the only tour right now. There are talks of a tour next summer in Japan. We shall see. And then it'll be through my partnership with Alluring Africa, we'll be doing the South Africa tour probably every year, and hopefully expanding to like Tanzania or Botswana as well. And I'd really like to do Morocco.
Oh, that one, I can imagine the spices and the culture there. Oh my gosh.
I'd really like to put together a Morocco tour, but it just depends on like time and everything, because it takes a lot of time to like go over there and like do all the digging and stuff.
Do you think you'll ever go back and do the Paris tour that was your dream tour that you're working on?
I just need to find an operator that isn't going to charge me an arm and a leg, because my problem was like I was doing it on my own, and I was piecemealing everything together, which is a lot of work. And then you need insurance and all these things. But the tour operator, they were quoting me like an exorbitant amount of money, and I wouldn't have been able to make any money on the tour or pay for myself on the tour because like it was so expensive. Like there was no way I could raise the price anymore. So if I found someone that like could white label it for me and then I can put it on sale, that would be great. But like I can't find someone that's selling me a tour, like a tour price, you know what I mean? And then like also like make another tour price on top of that. So it would need to be like a wholesale type of thing. So we're getting there.
So are you sold out for your tour in October?
I believe we are. I think I did ask if we could add like a couple more spots because the demand has been so high. So I think we can add a couple spots. So if you want to go, let me know.
So if people want to sign up, they just go to, where do they need to go to sign up?
There's a link on my social media that will take them to the tour page.
Okay.
Because it's a very long link. So it's like if you go to my link tree and like on Instagram or TikTok, it'll say travel to South Africa with me, and that's the link to book and to learn more.
See, I didn't have TikTok up here. I have your Instagram. So your Instagram is on the screen. It's Vegans baby.
Yep. Same. I try to be consistent.
Sometimes it's hard because people will grab your screen name before you can get to it.
Yep. They do. But Vegans baby, no one had. I was like, it's mine.
Now our time is almost up. Do you have one last little nugget you want to share?
If anyone is curious about going vegan, email me and I'm happy to help. I think that's the best thing I could share. Like I'm happy to help anybody that really wants to go vegan or has questions about it.
And your website is a great source as well. So let's talk about where the people can find. What's your website?
Vegansbaby.com.
That's so easy. It's VEGANS baby.com.
Yep.
Like Vegas, but it's just the G and the S are kind of switched around.
Yep.
Do you have anything else before we hop off?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate your time. This was a lovely chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diana, for coming on and for sharing. I mean, I think you opened up a lot of eyes for a lot of people, realizing that it doesn't have to be just about, like you said, a salad. Like you go in a restaurant and that's all you can eat is a salad. You can eat so much more. You just have to do your research.
Yeah.
And I think your website's going to help out a lot of people that want to do that journey.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support.
So guys, I will put in the show notes everywhere you can find Diana, as well as her Instagram and her link. I'll go ahead and put her link tree up just in case she has a few more spots up for the tour.
Thank you.
And consider changing one meal a week. One meal a week. That's what she said. Just change
Meatless Monday. Do Meatless Monday.
There you go. And with that, guys, I hope you have a blessed day. And most importantly, keep chatting and keep listening. Bye.